there, it's A Dog's Life with Angela Ardolino.
And her friend Hernando Umana.
And we're here in LA because we're on our Healing Naturally tour, which we've been on now for a month, all over California, Nevada.
It's been amazing. We've literally been traveling in an RV, educating veterinarians, pet parents, holistic stores, anyone who's willing to listen to an alternative and get our pets healthy and doing it naturally. And the reception has been unbelievable.
Really unbelievable. I mean, we always get the people that don't want to hear about CBD because they're over it and they've been approached by so many people. But then we have the people that are so open and so happy to hear exactly how the medicine works. And I don't know about you, but there's nothing more rewarding than speaking to a holistic vet, who is so open to hear this information and wants to do better for their patients and understand that a lot of prescription drugs have awful side effects. They're taxing on the dog's liver and kidneys. And, vets, most of them get into this profession to help animals, not hurt them. So when their only choices are these prescription medications that actually cause more harm than good and just suppress the immune system, they're really open to trying something that'll work that does not have these awful side effects. So I think that's the coolest thing. There's nothing crazier than little old me teaching a doctor or a veterinarian about a natural way of healing and them listening and being open to it and understand how it works. So that has been probably the coolest thing. And we're doing this podcast today mostly because of the questions we're getting from the public and from the vets and from the stores. So we felt like let's take kind of what we've learned from these other people and what they're asking and kind of put a podcast together, because we're sure a lot of you have these questions also. And I often find that if we're talking to the public at an event, for instance, at a store, or it's a cannabis event, or it's a pet industry event, I see that they listen, but they all want to know specifically about their pet and how it's going to help their pet and their pet's problems. So I think that this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the amazing success stories we've seen the past 5 years that we've been doing this, and just about what we've seen just alone on this trip.
And what I want to make really clear is that when we talk about holistic healing, we mean holistic healing in every way. CBD is an incredible essential oil that has so many amazing benefits to help your animal, but it starts with what we're feeding them, with other incredible supplements with other companies that we love. It's a full rounded thing. We always say CBD brings the body to homeostasis so that the body can help fix itself, and you cannot do that without feeding the correct food, number one, because all of our immune system, 80% of our immune system is in the gut. So let's get the body to homeostasis with CBD, and then let's start letting it heal it naturally with other foods. Another thing I want to say is that I get texts every single day, or phone calls, emails. CBD didn't work for my pet. There are 205 pet CBD companies that I know of. And unfortunately, about 8 of them doing it correctly. CBD does some incredible things, but you have to make sure you're getting it from a reputable company, that you're giving the right amount of dosage for their specific ailment, which we'll talk about another time. There's a lot that goes into it, and we are always here to help. And we're excited to share, again, some of our favorite success stories that happen with CBD and also with proper nutrition.
For instance, we're going to bring up, just on this trip, one of our biggest success stories is is it a Frenchie or a pug? Mila.
Frenchie?
Jill's dog. I'm pretty sure it's a Frenchie. It's a black Frenchie. And 2 months ago, it was supposed to be put down because the vet suggested that it be put down because it could no longer use its back end. Couldn't poop, couldn't pee, has lost use of its limbs, its back limbs. And we just happened to meet these people at an event here in LA and gave them a brief education. And they went home with the Heal tincture and gave them a full dose.
37 milligrams.
37 milligrams, a full spectrum.
Hemp extract, CBD.
Exactly. And the dog got up and walked for the first time in 2 months. So, of course, we know that this is possible. When you relieve inflammation, when you relieve the pain, the dog is going to walk again, and that's exactly what's happening. So what's important to understand is that because of getting rid of that inflammation and pain, the dog is walking again, but that doesn't mean we stop there. Now we need to look at how do we support this overall dog's health, especially the gut where the immune system lives. So that's one of the reasons that we partnered with Adored Beast.
And if you don't know them, Adored Beast Apothecary, they are unbelievable. We love them.
We call ourselves the Cannabis Queen. We call them the Poop Queen. Because they develop products just like we did, specifically for pets, specifically for their system, for their body, what they need. So this company has done that also. So we got Milo to walk again. But now we need to take care of her gut. We need to look at what she's eating. We need to look at what other prescription meds she's taking that might be maybe very taxing to her health. So CBD is just the start. It is a wonderful start. I always say, people, I don't know about you, maybe after you go for a big workout, but you hit a certain age and you wake up in the morning and everything just hurts for no darn reason.
Yeah.
You work out, maybe go running and you're sore. Old age, it just happens. So we need to remember the same thing happens to our dogs when they get older and they're seniors, especially if they've been on a diet that hasn't been appropriate or supporting them. And we need to change that diet so that we can support them. Remember, when we hit a certain age, our bodies can no longer tolerate things like dairy or certain proteins or vodka, whatever it is. Our bodies can't metabolize it and do anything with it anymore, and that's when we get sick or it builds up in our body and disease starts. So I really want people to start thinking about what happens to us over time in old age. Same thing happens with our pets. So if your pet is slowing down and you can tell that they're laying around a lot and they're no longer doing the things they love, most likely they're in pain.
Yeah.
And getting rid of the pain is as easy as a dosage of a full spectrum CBD product. And once we get rid of the pain, then we can start doing the repair. So that's why we want people to really understand that this isn't a fix-all. This is a great first step on getting a hold of the problem. And what I love is that none of us want to see our dogs in pain or suffering. So when you can get rid of that and at the same time improve their mood and you see them become puppy-like, that is all I need.
It's unreal. And I'm sure everyone's already heard the craze of CBD for humans, but dogs actually have over twice the receptors for CBD, so they need less to affect them even better. So all these success stories, they sound miraculous, and even to us sometimes they are, but there's a reason. And you can listen to our other podcasts where Carter and Angie break down a little bit more of how and why that reason is. But today we're going to talk about our favorite stories. Angie has been running her own rescue farm called Fireflake Farm, where she's been healing animals holistically for over 12 years. And in the last few years that we've been legally allowed to use cannabis on our pets, the success has been unreal. We have seen dogs who were gonna die any day now, live for an extra year, 2 years, and not just live, thrive
and not be in pain, and we hear become puppy-like again and enjoy the things that they did. We just got a wonderful email from a gentleman who discovered our tinctures a little late in the dog's life. He had cancer, I believe, but got an extra year out of the dog's life because of using a full spectrum CBD product. So he stocked up on the bottles because he saw such a difference in his dog's quality of life, which is what this is all about. Mm-hmm. Dogs don't know that they have cancer. They just know that they don't feel good and they don't get up. Dogs feel our stress. So giving a sick dog a CBD regimen is never too late. And his dog passed, and he wrote us a wonderful email saying that not only did his dog live a lot longer than the vet told him, but that the dog had a wonderful quality of life. He was happy. He wasn't feeling any pain. And the best part is that this man still has 2 unopened bottles of his tincture that he wants to send back to us to send to somebody else who can benefit,
It's
so
really
that
beautiful.
their pet can benefit. And that's a beautiful thing. I have lost a dog, and there's nothing worse than losing a sick dog and knowing that it's suffering or in pain. A lot of pain medications constipate them, so then they can't go to the bathroom, which causes more problems. So to me, having this all natural remedy that you can give your sick pet that might be suffering in its senior years or geriatric years is a godsend.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and tell you some of our favorite success stories. Welcome back to It's a Dog's Life with pet and cannabis expert Angela Ardolino.
Hello.
And me, Hernando Umana, who is co-owner of CBD Dog Health. So let's talk about some of our favorite success stories. I think the easiest and most cute ones are always about anxiety. So let's start anxiety. I've got 3 dogs in mind. I've got Blanche, Odie, and Nina.
Yep.
Blanche is my 8-year-old Shih Tzu who has the worst separation anxiety you've ever seen. She is tiny and cute and doesn't make
a peep
until Dad leaves her alone. She actually got me kicked out of one of my apartments in New York, which is when I called this one about 5 years ago and said, "Help, I don't know what to do." And she introduced me to CBD, and it's been a game changer. There's no more hysterical barking or hysterical scratching.
And I love to add that she's a 6-pound Shih Tzu. When we're dealing with a bigger dog like Nina, who's my Doberman, I know I have to exercise her like crazy. But if you've exercised them, you've done everything you can, you've got the music, you've tried the thunder shirts, you've tried all the things, and the anxiety is not going away, then you need to add a CBD regimen to them. Some need it every single day for general anxiety. Some just need it for situations. So Nina is not anxious until a thunderstorm rolls in, and then she's a mess. Same thing with my Schnauzer. You know, lightning and thunder, fireworks, all of that sends them crazy.
She's from Tampa, which is the lightning capital of the world. So
it is.
We hear.
So every summer we get them every single day. And I think some of the funny things is watching Nina, who, you know, is much younger than Odie. Odie is 12 years old and Nina is 6. And, you know, Odie didn't have CBD in his life for the first 10 years of his life. So watching him go through the emotions of being scared and then giving him CBD and watching him still be so confused as to why he's feeling calm when he knows he's supposed to be anxious.
He's so cute.
So, you know, I watch him, he's not shaking and he's not panting anymore, but I can still see that he's so confused of why he's so calm when the world is ending outside. And he does. It takes him a full 20 minutes and 2 dropper fulls, which is 18 milligrams of our calm tincture, which is lavender essential oil in full spectrum, for him to calm down. And Nina, it's immediate, and a quarter dropper.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we see the industry likes to dose by weight because that's an easy way to explain it.
Nothing
but
to do with think of humans.
Nothing, exactly.
Think
and
of
I love
humans.
when you said this to me.
Yeah, when I am open about my mental health issues and what I'm doing to help, and one of the first things I did was get on antidepressants, which I'm now on a fully cannabis regimen instead. But when I first went, my doctor started me at 10 milligrams, and we moved up until we found what worked.
Right, so you started with the 10 milligrams, you came back, what, 2 weeks,
2 weeks
later,
a month later,
said, I still am doing terrible or I'm doing great. And if you're doing terrible, then they up the dose. And if you're doing great, then you leave it the same. Or maybe you feel a little too much and we lower it.
But the difference between that and what he was trying me is that this doesn't affect my liver at all. It's all natural. So increasing a dosage didn't scare me with CBD when I was trying to figure that out.
We need to remember that these pain medications that they give the dogs, a lot of times they are human pain medications. They are not dosed for the dog's weight or
Yeah.
age. And they're really hard on the dog's system, on their kidneys, on their liver that has to metabolize the synthetic drug. Unlike cannabis medicine or full spectrum CBD oil is not going to hurt their liver or kidneys at all. It's not going to make them overwork. If you apply it right, it goes right into their bloodstream.
Yep.
And there's no side effects. And it doesn't make them sick.
Exactly. Well,
and it gets rid of the pain.
Tell them about Odie and the stairs, arthritis.
Yeah, so a lot of people are like, how do you know it's working? Because I know arthritis, we know if we're dosing a dog that's anxious, we dose them, we watch, see how well they're doing. If they've calmed down, then we found their dose. If they haven't and we need to give them more, then we give them more until they are calm, and that becomes their dose. When it comes to arthritis or joint pain, especially for a little dog, it's hard to tell, but the way I could tell is, Odie is a 9-pound miniature schnauzer who loves to run around, especially going up and down the stairs, and I noticed he would stop halfway up and look at me like, what's wrong? Why can't I do this anymore? So that's like the easiest way to find out with a little dog, or a little dog that jumps up on the couch no longer jumps up on the couch anymore. That usually means they're probably feeling some back pain or knee pain or leg pain. So those are other signs. And a big dog, it's a lot easier to tell, because a lot of times the big dogs have trouble getting up.
Yeah, those golden retrievers with those hips and those
and the
labs.
German shepherds.
Yeah,
and
you
the
see
labs.
them get up a little faster every time, and then some of them get the case of the zoomies, which
Yes.
we love. They start running like they've never run before in their lives.
Because they wanted to.
Yeah.
And they didn't because it hurt. So yeah, the big dogs definitely feel more pain because they weigh more.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger and weighs more, and they sit down in a long time, and a leg falls asleep. You have to help them up. That's a dog that is experiencing pain, joint pain, hip dysplasia, and cannabis medicine, a full spectrum product, will get rid of that pain.
I think I've seen more success with joint pain and arthritis with CBD in dogs than all the other ailments we've seen. I think arthritis is the biggest one that comes to mind that I get calls about every day that we have the most success with, because CBD takes away the inflammation of anything, and that's what arthritis is. So it gets rid of it pretty quickly. And
any type of arthritis, it doesn't matter where it's attacking or what kind it is. A full spectrum product is going to get rid of that inflammation, which means it gets rid of the pain.
Yep.
Does it get rid of the problem? No, but the problem may be hereditary. If the problem is because of poor diet or environment or not enough exercise, then we can fix that now that we've gotten rid of the pain. And let me tell you what, someone who's not feeling any pain is going to get better much faster than someone who is in pain. We all know what it feels like. It's miserable. We don't want to get out of bed. Dogs feel the same way.
CBD Dog Health actually has a tincture specifically for arthritis, where it also has turmeric and frankincense, which are beautiful anti-inflammatories. Frankincense actually helps CBD get to the receptors faster.
Both frankincense and turmeric both have compounds in them a lot like the cannabis plant. So they're called terpenes and flavonoids, and they share a lot of the same compounds that help. So you can take one terpene that is amazing at helping CBD be absorbed more quick to get to the receptors faster, and these other essential oils have these compounds that help it work better, which is why we put them in a tincture.
Yeah.
Because they all help each other work a little bit better. And these are both wonderful anti-inflammatories on their own, but giving them the full spectrum kapowie to it. Kapowie, there's a new word. You're done. You don't need these awful. I have taken dogs off every bad prescription drug you can imagine and moved them to CBD with wonderful success.
Wonderful.
It was just a matter of finding what each of their dose was. When it's dealing with grand mal seizures, big seizures, which are so scary, and we all feel so helpless when we have them, having this tool, this in your toolkit for your dog's health is the best thing you can have. If the dog gets injured, you give it to them so that they don't have to feel the pain and they start healing quickly. If they're having a seizure, you can stop the seizure by putting it right onto their gums.
Yep.
I have a rescue farm. I rescue mostly farm animals and dogs. And I'm telling you, anything happens in my farm, I run and grab my CBD and start giving it to them, because the number one thing is I don't want them to suffer.
Yeah.
I don't want them to feel pain, and I don't want them to suffer, and I know this is going to get rid of it. I have watched everything from a chicken attacked by a dog that I thought she's just laying there and dying, ran and got the CBD and literally jumped up and joined the flock. And in the farm world, there's something called blue spray. It's literally what you spray on farm animals' injuries to keep it from getting infected. And literally a squirt of blue spray on the injury and CBD and this dog and this chicken was fine.
And it's worth mentioning that CBD, she's talking about her chickens now, anything with a spinal cord can benefit. We all have the same endocannabinoid system. So whether you're listening to this for your dog, or your cat, or your chicken, or your goat, it will help. Reach out to us and ask questions.
I just
specificity.
on this tour, we've had the wonderful chance to go behind the scenes at some of our favorite holistic veterinarians, and some of them are such big believers that literally every animal in there we were treating with CBD, because it doesn't interact badly with anything else, and all it does is help. So from a cockatoo with PTSD, got it in her, and they were already, this bird was already being happier and letting strangers touch it, which they couldn't believe. To, paralyzed dogs, to dogs with, we saw dogs that were rescued from the campfire. We were at Dr. Jill's. Right. From the campfire fires, who was, filled with anxiety. It's just a wonderful thing for every living being, to help them with stress, anxiety, and pain. And that's why we're such big advocates, and we're traveling the country telling everybody about it.
Yep.
Because we can live a drug-free life without these prescription drugs that cause these horrible side effects, and get everything we need from this one natural oil that comes from a plant. The best plant in the world, in my opinion.
I agree. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back, and we're going to tell you about our favorite success story of our 18-year-old Daisy. Welcome back to It's a Dog's Life. We had so many stories to tell, and it's so crazy how fast time goes. So stick with us, and another time we'll talk about allergies and seizures and a lot of other things. But this story of this beautiful, beautiful dog, it has to be told, and I'll let you lead this one, because you really dealt with this.
Well,
one.
I think this story is important to share because she had a mast cell tumor on her back. Her name is Daisy.
What was she?
Daisy. She's a black lab.
Mm-hmm.
She was surrendered to our shop when her owner went into hospice and the family couldn't take care of her anymore, and so we adopted her. And it's crazy because this sounds really weird, but when I get a dog with lots of problems, I get really excited.
Yeah.
And
they couldn't have gone to a better place.
And to be able to heal a dog completely naturally with diet and good supplements and CBD, there's nothing more rewarding, and I love doing it over and over again and showing and proving it to people. I love Daisy's story because I got to watch her tumor die and explode and ooze, which is helpful because we have people who buy our salves and put it on a tumor, and this is what happens to a tumor when it is dying. When you take your dog to your vet to have a tumor removed, they just cut it off. And a lot of times it comes back or it pops up somewhere else, but you don't have to see the ickiness of the tumor going away or dying. You just get a nice little stitch on their thing and they're done. When a tumor dies from CBD, it takes a little longer, of course, and it actually kills the entire tumor in front of your face, which means it deflates, it oozes, it pops, You wake up in the morning and their bed looks like a bloodbath. And you're like, oh my gosh. It is disgusting, but it gets rid of it. So it lasts about 2 or 3 weeks, and Daisy was probably the grossest one. I've gotten rid of giant tumors before, but what happened is when they got to a certain point, it was a younger dog, and they would go roll in the ground or roll and pop it. So I never got to see it do this. Since Daisy is 14 years old and really old, and it was on her back, she couldn't touch it. So I got to watch this disgusting, nasty, I can't even find it anymore. There was a point where the tumor, I couldn't get underneath it. It was attached to her spine in the back.
It gives me chills.
And now it's completely gone. I can't even see where it is. We can't find where it is anymore. I have to look back at the pictures to even look in the area to see where it is.
And that was
it was a hard golf ball growing, like literally looked daily like it was getting bigger. Hair started to stop growing on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the funniest things that happens, is that hair starts growing on it all of a sudden. So you know that the body is starting to go, oh, finally. Support for me to do what I need to. But that's the awesome thing, is I didn't have to pay a vet $1,000 to cut this tumor off. And at the same time, I watched this dog come back to life. I watched dementia go away. I watched cloudy eyes turn into eye contact, not getting lost, running and swimming in the lake. I mean, she went from not moving to running around and being part of the pack. I thought she was deaf because she couldn't hear anything, but we are swearing she can hear now. So again, it could have been inflammation in the ears or jaw that could have been cutting her hearing off. So she actually probably can hear because she barks with the rest of the pack. When the rest of the pack,
she runs with the rest of the pack now.
She now is part of the pack. So it's just, there's nothing better than not only being able to get rid of a cancerous tumor on your own with a all natural remedy, but at the same time watch your dog come back to life, or this dog come back to life. There's nothing more beautiful.
And with dementia, what's going on there? Do you guys know who owns the patent to CBD as a neuroprotectant? The United States government.
Not anymore, but they did.
They did, which tells you...
I'm pretty sure GW Pharmaceuticals has it now.
Great. So yeah, things like dementia and Parkinson's and all these things can benefit from a strong dose of CBD, but they benefit.
They protect the brain.
Yeah.
So that's what a neuroprotectant does. This has already been proven. So, I've seen human stories already where people, family members are taking control, and it's usually a young son who's giving his elderly father or mother the medicine. Mm-hmm. And, I just think I shared this story with you. I think it was in Panama, where he gave his dad the first dose, and his dad, for the first time in 3 years, recognized him. Ugh. So, these stories are going to continue to go out. I know we're going to continue to spread our stories so that we all understand the power of this unbelievable medicine.
It's so cool.
It is.
If you guys want to see more success stories, go to cbddoghealth.com. Under the resources tab, we have a whole file of some amazing success stories. We also have a whole file of all the known studies
and research out there.
So when someone says that there's no research, you say, lies, here are the receipts.
We want you to be able to have the access, educate yourself, and empower you to make the best decisions for your pet, so that you know what hurts them and what doesn't hurt them, and that this amazing medicine that's been kept from all of us helps us and our pets so much.
So do us a big favor and like this, share it, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram, tell your friends to listen, tell them if they have questions, send them to us. We love to answer personal questions, and we would love to add your pet success story to what we do. It's what we love to do. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Please tune in next week with Angela Ardolino and someone else incredible that's not me.